So we've gotten through 3 days of the Republican National Convention, or at least what passes for it. I am not going to lie to you this time. I didn't watch a lot of it last night. I checked in constantly, and every moment I saw was so boring. But to be fair, it isn't made for me. And there are some people who are incredibly enthusiastic about what's already come and about what is to come on the last day. Here's a little bit of Fox and Friends giving you a preview of what's gonna happen on the big night.
Well, looking forward to tonight, some big speakers. We've got Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, Ivanka Trump, and of course, the headliner, President Trump himself. And before I go, Brian, Ainsley, and Steve, I just have to show you one more thing. Take a look up at these lights and speakers, which completely surround this stage. I mean, it really does have the feel of a rock concert out here on the South Lawn, something that we really have not seen before. And you know that President Trump still has a few more surprises up his sleeve.
That's right. He's promised a surprise every night at 10 o'clock. So far, he has not let us down. The viewers, that is.
What are you talking about? I don't know what either of those jokers was saying. They did have lights and speakers. Yeah, they're gonna have. I got some lights. I got a mic. I don't understand it.
You can just feel the energy, John.
Exactly.
And I like how Steve Doocy there. It's like, oh wait, not we. I mean the viewer. I'm speaking on behalf of the viewer.
It's not for us.
No, that's not right. Nothing to do with us. We're not excited about it. He hasn't delivered on anything to us.
What was so you've been watching? I assume every night, right?
I have. Yeah, I watched last night more than I watched some of the other nights too. It's difficult to watch, but. You know.
It is, especially because I think Mike Pence is still going. What was the 10 p.m. surprise every night that he's done?
Well, the 10 p.m. surprise last night. I mean, he showed up last night after the speech, after Pence's speech, and showed up and talked to Pence and talked to some of the people in the crowd who had not been tested for COVID, and he didn't wear a mask, and none of them did either. But it's not a surprise to see very often at these conventions you see the nominee with the vice president after they give the speech. There's the unity thing, the hall goes crazy, and then they move on. I don't remember a big deliverable last night other than he showed up late and did the walk through. And I guess maybe it was Trace Adkins singing the Star Spangled Banner at Fort McHenry where it was written. I'm not sure.
Is that it?
Look, last night was it was like all of it, and I should preface this by saying that I'm a cynic about these conventions anyway, and I love them. So there are two sides to it. One, I love them because I think the American spectacle is just sort of amazing to behold sometimes in its silliness, and then and so some of the highlights are always impressive, and there's some things that are tear jerking. I like the biographical stuff about people you don't already know, but when you get to these points, this is playing to about 10 or 15% of the country. They're the people that are really diehards and they're really into this. And the same last week with the Democrats. I think there was a little more interest because we don't know as much about Biden and Harris, even though Biden's been on the landscape for 50 years. This is his first time as a nominee. So but again, so last night was exactly what you'd expect. A lot of flags, a lot of white people, a lot of talking about an agenda that would scare you into voting for the other person in this race.
Definitely
they delivered on that.
Yeah, they have. And so I saw in that little preview of what was coming tonight, they have Jeff Van Drew on the most important night. Oh my God.
Right.
Let's see, you got Ben Carson. That's great. Mitch McConnell is gonna give, he's just gonna tear the house down.
And Mitch McConnell and Ben Carson as a 1-2 speech punch is about as easy a way of getting you to turn on the TV or turn to a different channel and not watch basketball.
The nap is yet to come with those two. But anyway, there are possibly there are some other big Trump supporters that probably would have been speaking tonight, but unfortunately they trusted him on COVID, and so they've tragically passed away. The big surprise tonight will be who in that big crowd of people who aren't going to be tested for COVID and won't be wearing masks will catch coronavirus and eventually regrettably die. That's the surprise. We won't know for a little while, but it's going to happen because of these crowds they've been doing. They've literally, and I'm not making this up, they have only tested the people that were sitting around Donald Trump. The rest is the Wild West.
Yeah,
so that's
people backstage were tested, and the Secret Service, you'll notice, were not wearing masks last night either, which I found curious too, because they've been wearing them all along, and that's not a decision. The president can't tell them not to wear masks. I guess he could tell Homeland Security to tell them not to, but it's an otherworldly experience. And they were talking so much about COVID on the first night, and then on the second night it was as if they cured COVID and it was over and it was past. And then last night, in talking about law and order, that we should talk too about. There's a comparison to Kenosha and last night when Mike Pence pointed out the widow of Dave Underwood, the police officer in Oakland, who was killed at a riot earlier this year in the wake of the George Floyd murder. He was shot and killed there, but he was shot and killed by a right-wing extremist, part of the Boogaloo movement, which I don't really believe is a movement, but whatever it is. And that was not pointed out. There was zero context. They honored his memory and they said we're always going to be with him. And it was all about boosting up law enforcement. This was a Blue Lives Matter speech that was given by the president.
Yeah, it must have just slipped his mind that it was actually a right-winger that killed him while he's talking about chaos in the streets and all of that. For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.